Hello and welcome to this video tutorial about basics for harp players. And in this video I will explain the basics that are really important when you want to understand the concept of sound baths and when you want to use your harp as an instrument for accompaniment, and when you want to understand music in general. And there are structures in music that we can meet all over the place. When we know them, we will recognize these structures. And one of the basic structures of music is a triad, which a triad is a special form of something that we also call a chord. A triad always is a chord, but a chord is not always a triad. A chord could also consist of more than 3 notes. But for now, we will have a look at triads and what they consist of, how they are made, and how you can invert them, and what this might be good for. Okay. My harp is in the key of C, and I will show you my hands close. And maybe you have heard already about the triad, and maybe you have already met this fingering shape. This is the fingering shape for a triad in its root position, as we say. And there are 3 notes, and I give names to all of the 3 notes. And this is not the name C, E, G, but it's a more general name, like the C is the root note of my C triad. And the E is the 3rd note of my C triad, because it's a 3rd away from the root note. I count the root note as number 1, then 2 and 3 is the 3rd note. And I have the 5th note of my C triad, which is G in the C triad. And the 5th is 5 away from C when I count C as number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So we have root note, 3rd note, 5th note. And when I play those 3 in this row, root, 3rd, 5th, then I have a triad in its root position. And this is a fingering shape that you can practice. You can now build a triad the same way on any tone of your harp. Let's say you want to have a triad on G. That's a G major chord. Then you take the same shape and put it on the root note G, like this. And then you have root note G, 3rd, B, and 5th D, okay? So the functions of the 3 notes are always the same, but in every chord there's another root note. Like in the F chord, the root note is F. And in the A chord, the root note is A. And in the E chord, the 5th note is B. But in the D chord, the 5th note is A. But in the shape, the 5th note is always the thumb note in the shape for the root position. And now you can change the order of these 3 notes, okay? And it's like this children's game where you put hands on each other, and then the lowest hand is pulled out and you put it on top, and so on and so on. I only have 2 hands for a triad. I would need a 3rd hand, but I don't have it, okay? I think it's clear what I'm talking about. So let's have a look what that means on the harp. When I want to rearrange these 3 notes of, let's say, the triad on C, I put away the C from from the bottom, and I want to have it up here. So I have to change my fingers. And now I have the same 3 notes. It's still C, E, and G, but the root note of the chord now is on top. And the third is the lowest note that I put to my harp, and the 5th note is in the middle now. And there's a rule how you can keep in mind. We call this the first inversion because we have inverted the order of the note of the 3 tones once. And in the first inversion, the first finger is in the root note. Okay? And then you see that here are 2 strings empty and 1 here. In the root position there were 1 string in between each finger, and in the first inversion below the root note there's a bigger gap, 2 strings. Okay, so keep that in mind. First inversion.